Alright, so this is a game on Swamp in the STB-1, the Tier 10 Japanese medium tank. This is the northeast spawn, so again, similar to what I've talked about in previous Swamp matches. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to see if you can secure this, clear out this north area first, and then see how you can react based upon how their team disperses and how, as opposed to how our team disperses. And this is an interesting map because we give up a lot of map control, but they allow sort of some weak areas in their attack, which allow us to reposition to put them at a disadvantage, and we'll sort of identify those places as they come up. And then this match does have artillery, so you'll notice that we do have to be safe from standard artillery positions, at least this early in the match. And we see their T-71 is over here, and the 140 appears over here, so that's pretty much most of their fast tanks, along with the T-54, which suggests that they, unless they send the E-50Ms this way, they don't really have much that's going to appear here right away. So I will, at some point, go forward a little bit more and take a peek. And so we see that they have two IS-7s pushing this side, which is not atypical. Heavy tanks, a lot of times, particularly faster ones, tend to go this way. They're kind of stuck out in the open right now, right? And we look at our backup, we got an IS-7, T-57, E-50M on this side with us. And we've got four guys over here. So we have backup on the way, so we can just kind of wait here a little bit and see what happens. And so they're pushing up, which is fine. Again, they push up basically into this little kill box area. They're going to try to push through it, though. At least one of them is. And basically, I'm starting to be in a bad position now because we don't quite have the firepower to back me up here. So I'm going to bail out and go towards the city a little bit. See, we have this IS-7 here, and you see how we have this flank coming on? So this IS-7 needs to be more aggressive. Right now we're leading with a tier 7 and two tier 8s. So I'm going to try to get over there as fast as I can to support them. This IS-7 needs to do a better job of actually, being out front, rather than letting an E-25 or a Centurion tank for him. So this IS-7 thinks that he's going to bully these guys. These guys actually do a good job of damaging him, and I'm able to track him on the sort of hill here, and then I can just fire through the drive wheel to finish him off. And then the Centurion IS-3 are still being brave, which is the right thing to do. The IS-7 doesn't really have much behind him that can fire upon them other than artillery. Our IS-7 finally finishes him off when he gives him side turret because he's so far back. That's the only really thing that he had a shot on. So now when you look at the map, right, so they've kept their south bridge clear, which is par for the course for the south team. They've also pushed tanks up underneath here early, so we've given up a lot of map position. We're pushing a couple guys down here, which is not really what you want to do right away, especially given that that they have tanks over here. So what I'm going to do is try to get into a position where I can take out or shoot at some of these tanks in the middle and sort of get a gauge of what are they doing on this south here. Are they pushing? Are they camping over here? So we can get an idea of what we can possibly, what is possibly left over on this side. And then you'll notice that those 10s that were on this C line with me, they're like camped up here. That's not really that good of a place to go unless you've got pretty good camo. It's just fairly easy to get shot up there. So you see we're down like 3,000 health right now, so we need to figure out ways to efficiently trade. And I know they have mediums floating about in this middle. The T-54 has been basically going back and forth here. Their 140 is a little bit out here. He's going to move back up in here, presumably, because he doesn't want me to shoot them as opposed to these guys shooting him. So I'm going to shift over to this side because I know the T-54 is over here, and I want to get them to back down off of that side. This Foch 155 isn't in position to shoot me, so I can just move forward a little bit here and see if I can find them. And then see how we're sort of collapsing in over here. On that east side, that's fine, but like when you watch these guys, you know, once they've sort of reestablished this hill here with this 140, see how these guys are all coming back? They're all going to come back and like camp over here, which is pretty much the worst thing that you can do at this point because you're giving up more and more and more map control. But the sort of one of the flaws that they did is that they left this area open, which means that this area is vulnerable. So what I'm going to do as our team sort of collapses back into the base and gives up even more map control, what I'm going to try to do is try to get to some place where I can establish some level of map control and get some firing lanes on these guys over here. And so we're still down, you know, a little bit more than 3,000 health, and I don't want to just drive straight in there. I kind of want to take my time and make sure that I'm not seeing on the way in. We have plenty of time over here. They're not really pushing on this south flank. And their JPE hasn't been spotted yet. I presume that he's up there someplace. Kind of like our JPE, who has yet to leave the base. Okay, so then I can move forward to this position over here, which is a really powerful position. You can spot this area over here, you can shoot this area over here, you can spot anything in the middle, and it's not necessarily easy for people to charge you, but what you'll notice is that from my position, I don't have any fire support at all. None of these guys are in a position to help me, so I have to be careful in terms of if I'm lit, whether I get charged or not. And then I'm just waiting for this guy to get lit. Again, I'm never a big fan of cowering over here, and so like if they were the only tanks left, you know, you have basically this 12 squares of map control, and that's it, and that usually means that you're about to get walloped. And so that 140 kind of bailed out there, so I do want to take a peek at what's over on this side. And I see that E50M has hopped through here to get to over there, and I'll have shots on him as well. And their Foch 155 is up on this area as well, which is, again, not the best place for the tanks to be on either side. There's a T-95 that's crossing through the middle, which is fine. So we see that they're sort of concentrating their tanks underneath here, which makes it easy for me to shoot them in there at the very least. And I get lit there from shooting that T-95. I probably should have waited until he got a little bit further away. It was like 413 meters or something. I thought that would be enough. But. So they know that I'm over here. They probably could have figured it out earlier because I was shooting them, but now they know for sure. And so we've taken out, at this point, most of these tanks in the middle, just the E50M. So again, I want to check to make sure that I'm not being attacked on this side at some point. We know where the E75 is. We're not exactly sure where the JPE is. And I'm looking over here to see if we get lights on the E50M. Our JPE still hasn't left the base 10 minutes into the game. Our T57, this I-7 is starting to come down here now. This 140 is sort of just hovering over there. So I sit here for a minute, maybe a little bit too long, and then I decide that I need to check this side again. So I need to go back to my original position. And as I do, I see the E75 is charging me. Again, they already know that I'm here. So what I need to do, right, so the math that I need to do is I can sit here and try to trade with the E75, but I don't have any fire support at all, and I don't know exactly where the E50M, or I can leave. And that's the nice thing about a medium tank, is that you're relatively fast and you can always just leave. And so I decided to leave, and I was hoping to kill the E50M over there. And so this E75, he's going to be too slow to get over here to shoot me. The E50M can still potentially shoot me, and the Arty can shoot me. The JPE may or may not have a line on me. And yes, the E50M just shot HE at me. I don't know why. Okay, but again, so intel is important. We know where they are. So all we have to do is just go back in through here, come up over around on this side, and we'll be in a better position to challenge those guys. So it is now 4 minutes left in the game. The JPE is asking whether we have a plan, and I think he's about to leave the base. Yes, we have confirmation. He is leaving the base. Probably about 5 minutes too late. And then, so see, these guys are taking this rather circuitous route. This 140 is still out here. I'm not exactly sure what he's thinking quite yet. He eventually goes down this way, which, if you see me drive away from a position, it's probably because that position is no longer a very good position. But he's going to go there anyways, and that's fine in the grand scheme of things. So the idea is that we need to come in through here and figure out where this E75 is. I'm fairly certain that he's still going to be over here, but it is entirely possible that he turned around and drove back here as well, and basically both of them are up there, which would really reduce their map control. But in order to test that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up on this side and see if I can spot anything over here. And I see that he is still there. Okay, so they have this firing lane over here, and presumably JPE is over here, and he'll actually get lit in a second. Yeah, there he is. So we know where their tanks are, which always makes it easier to attack into. We have 3 minutes left. The 140 is coming up on the E75, so I'm going to reposition to get in someplace where I can support both him and if the JPE gets relit. This E75, there's this little hill here. If in order to charge the object 140, he needs to drive away from it, which will give us shots, the T57 and or myself. If this JPE gets lit like he does, then I should be able to get shots on him as well. And then this E75 is charging our 140. And I shoot the little hill, and then I think this next shot goes high. Oh no, that one was also low. But his shot goes way high. And so we are about to spot the artillery. We have a minute and a half left to kill both. Not too big of a deal, but I might need to do the bulk of the damage on the E75 because nobody else is really in a good position to shoot at him other than the artillery. And apparently I am 0 help in this match. And so he ammo racks me and tracks me, and I fix my ammo rack because I don't really have that much faith in my team, and then the M53, M55 just wallops the E75, which makes it much easier. So really the key thing to me was you know, we did a good job of clearing the north, right? They pushed 2 IS-7s in there, and we pretty much cleaned them up for free. We lost the E-25 because the E-25 went YOLO straight into the front of the IS-7. But we really didn't pay much more than that. We lost a lot of health up when our 10s went up here. We lost a lot of health on the south. But when we lost that map control, they still left a gap in their defense, right, on this G1 area, which allowed me to get behind them and attack their force that was underneath our hill. And just by us proxy spotting them, or them trying to spot us, it allowed me to get some shots and change the sort of complexion of the game, which allowed us to eventually come back. We had a little bit too much camping, and those guys pushed a little bit too late. So when we look at the actual stats of what happened, oh yay, it actually worked. So we ended up doing 6k damage and 2500 assist, and that's mostly because we were able to keep moving and get ourselves in different positions, and not be on the same line as a lot of our other 10s. The other 10s on our team, they did all right. Really, it was the Artie that did a lot of work. He had a lot of key shots for us, particularly well, the E75 at the end, but also the E50M, the low health one that I hit that had like 10 health left. He was able to take him out, which sort of really kept shrinking down their level of map control. So it's little things like that, like moving around the map. Even if you're losing, you know, try to feel out whether they have gaps, and try to get someplace where you can be effective rather than camp and huddle all together, because that tends, you'll eventually just get whittled down there. So I hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching.